Yeah, Monster Sanctuary is sick. And that's actually where I had the issue. Ooh. Let's try Lich King with Spike Balls. Figure that out. Let's see. What do we invest in at this point? Raw damage, magic damage. Both are pretty dang good. Oh. Let's reduce the cost of spells. Let's see. We don't need that much max HP, in retrospect. Question is, do I want the extra magic? Unflux is bad, though. Eh. Anyway, so Monster Sanctuary is actually the Pokemon clone I was talking about. And to some lesser degree, what was it? Like, there was also Koromon and a couple others, but Monster Sanctuary is probably the best example of how to come up with a new idea within, like, a genre and still keep it kind of fresh and interesting. And I had a lot of people that were just like, why the hell would I ever play this? And I'm just like, what? Oh, no. We actually want that max HP for a while. Like, why the heck would I play this when I could just go play Pokemon Sword and Shield? I'm like, they're completely different games. Like, you can't just assume that just because there's Monster Collection, it's gonna just be like Pokemon. They're like, it was like, gosh. It was like talking to a wall. And to some degree, like, you always have to realize when somebody is arguing in, I'm not going to say bad faith. Well, yes, you absolutely have to see when somebody's arguing in bad faith. But there are absolutely also people that just, no matter what you say or do, your point is unheard because their point is paramount. And that always sucks a little bit because it's like, I mean, I guess they're just going to have to live with that to some small degree. But it's a little sad. Because there's some, like, yeah, there's some great mechanics in Monster Sanctuary, and this person is just being like, nope, don't care. I will never play it. There's Pokemon is king, and that's all that there is, and it's just like, what? Oh, the convert health to mana thing is gone. It consumes your stats to heal you. Oh, that makes sense. Wait, why did I just jump into that one? Whatever. That's an interesting system. Kindred Freight's game looks neat on Kickstarter. I kickstarted it. Shell's really excited for that one. I'm tentatively excited. I got a little burnt by Temtem because I like Temtem. But it was just too freaking hard for me. In a way that I didn't really enjoy. It was one of those where it pulled back the Pokemon formula too much and made you realize that, like, oh yeah, I just have absolute trash tier stats, and then it also demanded you to have good tier stats to be able to go through the game at a smooth pace, because otherwise everything was freaking hard. That wore on me a little bit. And Monster Sanctuary has strategies, status effects are useful, customized with equipment, 3 monster teams, tech trees for each monster, synergy. Oh yeah, list goes on and on. Like, honestly, if we got a Monster Sanctuary 2 with, like, the full might of a large budget, it would be incredible. As it stands, the only thing that really holds the game back is just the fact that it looks okay. Visually, it very much looks like a single developer did all the artwork. And, like, if you could get, say, let's say, just shoot for the moon Supergiant level graphics on Monster Sanctuary, it would be incredible. Like, hands down, probably one of the best games to ever come out, period. Question mark? Probably not. That's maybe a bit too much credit, but it's one of the few early access games that I can't wait for it to go 1.0 so I can finally really sink my time into it again and experience, play through the whole thing. There were definitely some issues here and there, but it's just like, it's a legitimately good Monster Collection RPG that made me excited to play an RPG again, where recently I've been honestly kind of sick of them. From overly long and kind of boring plots to just mediocre mechanics. Like, I liked Persona 5, but I found the I found the actual mechanical depth to it to be a little shallow for how long the game was. They kept adding a couple of new things here and there, but it was definitely one of those where it was just like, I've been playing this for 100 hours, and, like, at best I've just gotten... At best I've gotten, like, one new ability, and that just kind of weighed on me. And so I'm kind of looking forward to... Okay. No more Mr. Nice Man. Did he die? Yeah, he died. Cool. And we get extra MP. Yeah! Playing Octopath Traveler right now. I liked Octopath Traveler mechanically, but it was too long. That once I fought an enemy and burnt all of its armor off, it was like, okay, it was kind of a fun puzzle for a while. And then after a certain point, I'm like, good lord, can I just, like, insta-gib some of these weak trash so I can get to my location faster? Because I found myself just getting kind of bored. It's a dwarf hole. And so at some point, yeah, I might actually want to go back and finish Octopath Traveler. Just to say I did. I don't know if I'd necessarily record the whole process. Maybe. But like, play... let's heal up a bit. But yeah, I don't know if I'd actually record the whole process or just do like a summation, give or take. This room is freaking hairy. Okay. Getting rid of them helps a lot. There we go. My other issue with Octopath Traveler was mostly just the fact that none of the characters mattered to each other. Like, their stories were all very self-contained. And there was, like, little vignettes after every chapter where, like, a character would talk to all the other companions. And it was charming, but it was also kind of just like, why didn't you just talk to each other from the beginning? And that got very confusing. Can you recommend any games that are like modern equivalents to old school JRPGs? Final Fantasy III, Golden Sun, Dragon Quest, etc. Ooh. That's a toughie. I mean, not exactly in the same, but I'm really looking forward to the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 remaster. That'll be in May, I think. I'm really looking forward to that one specifically because Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is one of my favorite JRPGs. Unfortunately, X was messy and unfinished. And 2 was just too goddamn anime for me. And so it kind of... That one wore on me a little bit. Dragon Quest XI was good, but it ran the same problem that I had with Persona, where it was too long for how mechanically complex it was. And also, I absolutely despise silent protagonists nowadays. Like, it works in Crosscode. There you go, Crosscode. Crosscode is a great example of... Admittedly, it's less it is an action RPG, so you're not going to be able to just, like, you know, play through it normally. But Crosscode is probably the best example of a silent protagonist I've ever seen. And it honestly kind of ruined silent protagonists. What does Hermes boots do? I actually have no idea. They put a lot of time into Xenoblade 2 and it was very anime. Like, I enjoyed it, but it was kind of one of those where it's like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would have been a much better story if the main female protagonist was one person, not two. The protagonist was not a child. And they didn't hire a bunch of hentai artists to draw all of the blades. The Crosscode isn't silent. You can talk in single words. And that made it so satisfying. Yeah, she was very expressive with her face and body during cutscenes. Yeah, and so, like, the thing that got me with Dragon Quest XI was just that the main character was a wooden board of a man. That just, he didn't give a shit. He saw friends die, and at best he had surprised Pikachu level emotions. And it sucked for me, because, like, I would be fine with a character that is, like, traumatized by his whole life, his experiences, to the point where he's shocked into silence. Like, I'm fine with that. Give me that. Don't give me the... just, like, the blank, no expression man where everybody else around him is incredibly vibrant. And interesting and exciting to watch and listen to. And then to have that be the main character, I'm just like, no, make one of these other characters the main character. Yeah, Wind Waker Link, big expressive eyes, lots of body language. Yeah, I mean, hell, even to some lesser degree, Breath of the Wild actually played up the silent protagonist Link a little bit in a way that was nice. Like, there was an amount of expressiveness in there that most other Links kind of lacked. And I'm curious about how they're going to handle Breath of the Wild 2. You hate Vaughn. I thought Vaughn was okay, but he should not have been the main character. I think he would have been an acceptable side character-ish? I don't know. There's some other good examples. You know what? Nier Automata had a fairly good... I'm not going to say silent protagonist, but she was very reserved. She talked... but she didn't talk much, and she didn't have immediately much to say. And I found that to be a lot more compelling from a character perspective. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Wrecked him. Let's see, what about Breath of Fire? So, I don't actually have that many opinions on Breath of Fire immediately. Well, here. Now I've got a shit ton of HP, so I can get through this no fighting very easily. For whatever reason, these guys are just kind of on the sides. Okay. That's easy. I've played Breath of Fire 2. I played that one on the Game Boy Advance, and I thought it was great up until the final section at the end. At which point, it kind of blew, because it just got that much harder. And I found myself frustrated just trying to beat it. I had the same problem with Golden Sun, where you get to the final dungeon, and it's like, by the way, have you been grinding? No? Woo! And then, I don't know, that wore on me a little bit. Let's see. Go back over here. But yeah, at some point I actually would like to, like on Thursdays or something, start going through some older games just as kind of like a fun thing. Obviously, I guess I'm doing that with this, but I mean like games that are considerably older than 2010. Because the amount of games that are older than 2010 that I've played on my channel are very few. And most of them are remakes or re-release and remasters and whatnot. But you need to grind in Golden Sun? I think I was lacking some Jin, and there were a number of factors, but effectively I just remember getting to the final dungeon and just getting, like, wrecked by most of the trash mobs, and finding it to be kind of unsatisfying. So I've never actually beaten it. It was also one of those that, like, I played a boatload of Golden Sun when I was in, I played a boatload of... Sorry, this is actually kind of hard. Boatload of it when I was living in North Carolina. Specifically when my dad was living in Boston, because he was doing house hunting and stuff. And I knew we were moving, so I kind of withdrew from having friends. Because it was going to be one of those where it's like, I straight up would not see my friends again, probably ever. Which ended up being quite true. And it was kind of just like, yeah, why put in the bother? So I specifically just, hung out and played a lot of Golden Sun. And that was really fun, but it was kind of one of those where it's like, then we moved to Massachusetts and suddenly, life's busy again. I think I also got really hard into StarCraft custom maps for like a month for reasons. Where am I? There's like one more section of the castle that I might be able to go in, but that's it. Let's go to the forest and see if I live. Oh gosh. There we go. And of course there's a treasure chest up there. Alright. Respectfully, this is kind of the worst entrance to the forest I've seen in a long time. Let's see. Let's actually heal up just a smidge. I don't want to heal too much, because I like having high stats. Okay. Okay, so far so good. Not dying that bad. Also, holy crap, liches are kind of great. Yeah, I don't think that's worth it. If I wait, these two balls will destroy themselves, so I'm gonna hang out here. Let's see, tried Ori and Hollow Knight as your first Metroidvanias. Would you recommend Rogue Legacy as an introduction to roguelikes? No. I mean, yes and no. Sorry, I'm getting thirsty. So the reason why I would say no is there are precious few roguelikes that actually behave like Rogue Legacy. You'd be better off getting into what was a particularly fun and easy roguelike. Slay the Spire or Tower of Guns would be the ones that I would specifically generally recommend. Slay the Spire because it's probably, well, it's just one of the best. And Tower of Guns because it's just super satisfying. Isn't Slay the Spire a card game? It is, but it's also a roguelike. But the reason why most games don't play like Rogue Legacy is the actual rogue elements are they're there, But the main issue is this game has a very hefty meta progression system that almost no other roguelike really has. Meta progression is improving your statistics between runs. Most games just don't have that. The only other one that has a leveling system to this extent would be like Neon Chrome. And Neon Chrome is an absolutely... It's a fun roguelike. It's not particularly complex, but it's still, you know, easy to get into. But most other roguelikes, when you die, you're dead, you start over from the beginning, rinse, repeat forever. Binding of Isaac is probably the best example, but it's also the grossest, so I hesitate to tell people about that one. The main reason why I say Slay the Spire is it truly is accessible to everybody, and there's enough mods out there to make it fun and last forever. Let's see. Thought roguelikes were defined by restarting, but with extras. No. True roguelikes are actually the ones that you restart with nothing. The whole meta progression per run thing, very specifically, I think is like this style is entirely because of Rogue Legacy. There are other exceptions like FTL where like you unlock some new options, but usually that's it. You almost never have like a statistical advantage for the next one. My personal favorite, at the moment at least, is Hades. I think Hades is an absolutely phenomenal roguelike, but it's also kind of hard, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to newbies to the genre. I'm trying to think of other good examples. Yeah, roguelikes are different from roguelites. Unfortunately, I don't like the distinction on either because I defining the genre based off of an old game works. I think it works well for freaking dog. Okay, there we go. I think it works well with stuff like Castlevania and Metroidvanias, just because they haven't started diverging too hard. I'm gonna leave that one for a little bit. I'm dying hard. Like, Metroidvanias have absolutely evolved. And, like, you could even argue that, like, not Diablo, Dark Souls is at least the first one is in part in the very beginning a Metroidvania. Let's see. But, like, otherwise, a lot of Metroidvanias still kind of keep to the same rule set and don't deviate too hard. And there's a lot of them that are very tried and true. Whereas it's actually relatively rare to find a true roguelike nowadays. Let's sack some stats for a bit. I'm dying. And I could die slightly less with these. There we go. Did we get the nightmare? We did get the nightmare. Hey, perfect. So, to answer, if you want to get into roguelikes, I would not recommend Rogue Legacy because you will find very few others like it. That said, it is a really good game. I just wouldn't recommend it as an introduction to the genre. I think also because the genre is too wide. So I guess the other flip answer that I would give is find a subgenre that you like and then find a roguelike that matches it. Because you got Metroidvania roguelikes, you got first-person shooter roguelikes, you've got deck builder roguelikes, you've got heavy meta progression simulator, grindbox, sort of Metroidvania roguelikes, which is what this one would be. Wizard of Legend is a classic. I like Wizard of Legend, it's fantastic. Level design's real boring, though. Which sucks, because that's, like, the only thing really holding it back. I can't get that. Wonder if there's a roguelike. Gosh. You know what? That would be Game Dev Tycoon, where you only make roguelikes, but I don't actually know if that's a genre that exists in there. Let's see. Into the Breach, a roguelike. Yes? Like, it is. Because once you're done with the run, that's it. The only thing you get to carry over is what mechs you've unlocked and one character, which I think is actually pretty cool. I would almost call it a roguelike puzzle game. Just sheerly due to how it's designed and organized. But yeah, the main issue is just that roguelikes are a very convenient... it's a very convenient umbrella term to describe a specific set of mechanics that is genre agnostic, that very few other games, very other blanket terms can, like, really encompass all of them. And so Metroidvania and Souls-like are probably the only other immediate examples I can think of where people overuse the term in a way that actually makes it mean nothing. For better, and mostly worse. But yeah, I guess to encapsulate what a roguelike generally is, procedural generation and some variance on permadeath. But the variance on permadeath gets very generous the further you go away from rogue. Hence why some people use the terms roguelite versus roguelike, which I think is fair, but I think at that point we really need another term for roguelite entirely, and keep roguelikes purely for, like, Caves of Cut. Hi. Is this Blobosaurus Rex? I think it is. Yep, Blubosaurus Rex. What was the one where you're a king ruling a kingdom? You tried to reign for as many years as possible. Are we talking Kingdom's New Kingdom? Because there's Kingdom New Lands and Kingdom Two Crowns, where you're just trying to go as long as possible. The only one that you're really trying to go as long as possible is Kingdom. Okay, not Kingdom. Might have been Yes, Your Grace. I never played that one. Okay, there we go. Chaining down attacks is super not doable. What the? Okay. I just got to go down a lot. I am healing poorly. Okay. There we go. Well, do we want to do this? Yeah, let's do this. I think my biggest problem is hitting all the ones at the top, which means I have to jump at least some point there. Not the greatest. If you get the hang of downstriking, it's very good. It's just we go back to the admission that downstriking in anything other than Hollow Knight feels very strange and not great. There we go. Was that 99 HP recovered? Damn. But yeah, I'm sure it gets very good, especially with the fact that there's no damage cap on downstrike chaining. It's just getting used to it is so hard. Especially because, like, half the enemies they can just kind of one-shot anyway, so downstriking them is mostly just kind of awkward. Okay. There we go. I'm still stuck on that whole not roguelikes, RPGs that feel like they were proper successors. To the old masterpieces. That's a toughie. I'm actually going to be stuck on that one, at least for a little while. Because I'm sure there's a couple of interesting ones that I've heard of that are like almost RPG Maker games that are pretty good. But I think most of them just don't quite fit the bill. One that I really liked, it wasn't perfect, but I really liked Knights of Tartarus. That game was earnest, I guess would be the best way I could put it. It was simple, it was small, but it had really neat mechanics. Oh, that missed my head by a hair. But it was kind of one part Metroidvania, one part like Dragon Quest, like Dragon Quest 1. And I haven't seen another game really capture the spirit of Dragon Quest 1. Ever, really. Not even Dragon Quest. Like, not even Dragon Quest 2 or 3 or whatever. And, like, 11 was good, but it was just very large. And 2 was very grindy and a bunch of other things. What was the game with the succubus sword where you descended deeper into the corrupted kingdom? That was Dark... Was that... It wasn't Dark Descent. Dark Devotion, there we go. Dark Devotion was neat. The lack of jumping put me off. Kind of hard, but it was neat. Unfortunately, I think they also nerfed the succubus sword. So I got an angry comment from somebody who wanted to succubus sword like I was, and it didn't work, and they were kind of upset, which I honestly can't blame them for. I did make it look hella rad. See, Serial 3 is Knights of Tartarus plus Monster Sanctuary. Really funny story, though. Did they ditch the procedural generation for the environments? Because I found the level design in that game to be utterly irredeemable. At least in Serial 2. I never played Serial 1. Because I like the idea of monster collection, but the monsters have to look at least relatively cool, and the level design has to be at least somewhat interesting. Because I played, what was it, Dragon Warrior Monsters when I was a kid, and loved it. I thought it was really neat, but going from 1 to 2 and then having those like nice hand design levels really made it obvious that Dragon Warrior Monsters 1 was just kind of messy. Okay. So where are we going? We're going over and down. We've cleared this place out fairly considerably. It's nice. Yeah, Serial level design is meh. That's a shame. Because I was actually really hoping Cirlum would improve at some point. But I think it will always forever be one of those games that I just can't quite get into. Right, can't do that one. I tried their card game that they produced. Oh. It's this one over here. Because they'd put out a card game that was, I think, similar to the card game in, wow, that's easy. Similar to the card game in Final Fantasy IX. But I was bored to tears, honestly. I think it worked as a mini game. But as a, like, a standalone game, I was just kind of there. So you can quit for a safe trip back to the castle entrance. I don't think there's anything back there, though. Yeah, I've cleared that out. I guess it would be the teleporter. That's a good point. But honestly, I am kind of just waiting for something to kill this character. Whenever that happens. But, ah, damn. Liches are strong. I do kind of wish, damn it. Well, there we go. Okay, there's my money. So who do we want to play as? None of these guys. Barbarian Queen, Barbarian... Let's go with Biggin the Barbarian. What do we invest in? Always gold gain first. After that, heck if I know. Raw HP makes a difference. Extra healing from food might actually help too. Haven't been... Yeah. Let's invest in that. A little bit in physical damage. I do also have some nice armor to buy. That is a good point. We're getting to the point where I should probably start picking those back up again. Including the Sky Cape, which just comes with 2 air jumps. Oh, that's actually really nice. We'll have to leave that for next time, though.